Well, as a Pro Bowler and a defensive end, Justin Tuck helped to lead his team, the New York Giants, to the Super Bowl, but he can't be defined just by football alone, and by the time this interview is over, you'll see why. Welcome, Justin Tuck.
Thanks for having me, boss.
Yeah, you won the Super Bowl, but it was actually the roughest season that you ever had.
Yeah.
Why is that?
It was just a bunch of individual things that collected throughout the year. Probably one of my most injury-plagued seasons. I guess I can talk about it since the year's over. I had some severe stingers in my neck early in the year. I broke a couple of fingers. I tore some ligaments in my shoulder. Had some groin issues, had a foot issue, had a knee issue, had some lower back issues. So it was just a long process, and to add on to the disappointments on the football field, had a lot of things not go right within my family. Lost 2 uncles and a grandfather in a span of about 5 weeks. So before the Super Bowl, it wasn't looking like a year that I wanted to remember.
And, that's why I asked the question, because what an inspirational thing to not only then go to the Super Bowl, but to have 2, critical sacks that helped turn the game around. But when you had that tough season in the beginning and it was your neck, was the psychology different? Did it make you a little more apprehensive because it was your neck and not another part of the body?
Yeah, no question. I've played through games, hurt, different body product, your knee, your shoulder, or whatever it may be. That's different from your neck. So definitely,
yeah.
Having a neck issue to begin the year, it definitely took away a lot of my aggressiveness on the football field. You kind of second guess yourself in certain situations in plays, and when you're doing that, you're not going to be anywhere close to where you need to be the dominant player that I had gotten accustomed to being. So my game definitely took a hit from that, and I think because of me not playing full speed, because of me not being very confident in myself, that led into me hurting other parts of my body too. So it was kind of a downward spiral there for a little bit.
On the other side, you have the bounty issue.
Yeah. That
guys are in trouble now for taking out parts of the body.
Yeah.
Isn't that a conflict?
It's
because you're paid to kill people, right?
As a player, you got to look at it both ways. It's no place in the game where you say to a player, I'm giving you this money to go hurt a guy. The intent has to be completely different. Whereas every time I step on that football field, I'm trying to make my opposition make their job as hard as possible. But at the end of the day, I want them to walk off that field as healthy as they did when they walked on it. But I would like to see them have a bad day. But I definitely don't agree with the whole bounty issue. You can go out there and play the game the right way and play it hard and play it very, be very successful in doing it without having the intent of hurting guys. And I think that's where they crossed the line. If they would just say, here's $100 for every tackle, or here's $100 for every sack, it's no intent to hurt anybody. It's intent for guys to go out there and play their best. But it definitely crosses a line when you talk about knocking guys' heads off, or making if a guy has a concussion, going out there and making sure that you hit him in the head.
Right.
It's no place in the NFL or anywhere in football for that.
And of course, in the NFL, you have disproportionately higher rates of bankruptcy.
Yeah.
I've seen 78% filing bankruptcy within 3 years of leaving the league. And you say you've done things to kind of protect yourself against that.
Yeah.
What have you done?
Just in not doing anything risky. The simple fact is this: we make enough money as athletes if we use it the right way that just off interest alone, you can live a great quality of life. I think a lot of people are so they're after that big gold nugget, whereas they try to turn $1 million into $10 million overnight. Whereas if you just go after steady growth, nothing risky, just steady growth, you're gonna put yourself in a situation where you don't have to work when you leave this game.
But aren't you a target? I mean, when people
absolutely.
need investors,
no question.
they come to Justin Tuck.
Oh.
He lives next door to me.
No question.
I'll slide the proposal under his door.
I get, I'm just gonna say roughly 100 proposals a year from startup companies, from whatever it may be, from family members wanting you to invest money in a new restaurant idea. It comes from all sides, but you just gotta be. The biggest thing for me early in my career, first 2 or 3 years in my career, was saying no. Now that's probably one of the easiest things for me to do, because at the end of the day, I'm doing what's best for me and my family.
You have 7 siblings, so that must.
I
be.
do.
Has that been hard?
I'm I say family members, but most of the time it's those family members that don't know you until you made it to the league. They haven't talked to you all through high school, haven't talked to you through college. Once you get your first check from the league, then they're
and Uncle Buck shows up.
Yeah, exactly. So
and it's a Hawaiian shirt.
I'm blessed because my close family are guys that understand that, and yes, I do help them out when they need it. But I got a hard-working family who would rather go to work and make their own dues than to bug me about dollars and cents. So,
and you do have a hardworking family. From what I've heard, your father built your house by hand when you were a kid.
Yeah,
you were a Sunday school teacher of all things.
I was
as a teenager. How did that prepare you for life in the NFL?
It puts things in perspective. Moving from Kellington, Alabama, and going to South Bend, Indiana, and then the last 8 years being right in the heart of the global capital of the world, probably in New York City. I guess you don't look at the flashing lights as much. I try to be just a humble, country Southern boy that does not get caught up in all the hoopla about things in life that don't really matter. So I think that prepared me for, when people come to you and just giving you all the fame in the world, to say to yourself that, if I miss a tackle next Sunday, these are going to be the same people that are, asking for me, the Giants to get somebody to replace me.
Was there ever a time where you struggled, where you're like, wait, I'm not the guy that I came to New York as?
Yeah, definitely. We all go through those processes in growing, but I'm lucky and blessed to have a beautiful wife that stuck by me, and she's kind of my buffer.
And she's a smart one too.
Yeah, she's. In football terms, it says you outkicked your coverage, and I definitely outkicked mine. My wife is someone that I confide in everything that we do, and I know that she's never gonna give me. She's not one of those people that tell you what you want to hear. She's going to tell you what's right, and that's I think all of us athletes, all of us quote unquote celebrities or whatever it may be, need somebody in our life like that. And I'm blessed to have best friend, wife that's that person for me.
And just to add some context, Justin's wife is currently pursuing her MBA at Wharton School of Business.
Yeah.
And before that, she was a consultant or?
She was an underwriter and a consultant at the Hartford Insurance.
So now she plays a prominent role in your foundation. I want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Your foundation targets youth illiteracy.
Yeah. Tuck's Rush for Literacy is our foundation. We started about 5 years ago. Basically what it is, in layman's terms, is we sponsor Title I schools throughout the tri-state area and provide them books, reading materials, after-school programs. We try our best to give them great incentive to enjoy reading, not just to start it, but you got to get kids to enjoy it so it's prolonged. Because I can put on an essay contest and tell them to read these 4 books, do an essay contest, and that'll be the only 4 books they read. But if you get them incentives and showing them how just the simple fact of learning how to read, and just the simple fact of where your mind can go with a book. We've had stories from students or parents of students that say that before we put our program in at school, her son he wouldn't read a book to save his life. Now she's walking in at night to cut off his lamp because he fell asleep reading a book. That's something that we're trying our best to do at Tux Russell is to get kids excited about reading. And one of the ways we do that is we do put on a book contest. And the winners of our contest get the opportunity to come with me to a Giants game of their choice. They're my guests, them and their families.
You probably have a couple adults that would want to put in for that.
So they come in and they I know, right?
And I saw you speak. How this happened, how we set this up, was I saw you speak at the United Negro College Fund Gala. You got a standing ovation when you started talking about the issue of illiteracy. In the black community, with the young kids, Harvard University has shown, Dr. Roland Fryer, that there's a penalty, social penalty for black kids that get AIDS among each other. It's called the acting white phenomenon.
Okay.
If you're a studious student, it's harder socially. Is that an issue that you see when you go out and talk to the kids?
That's a big issue.
And how do you change it?
A lot of my speeches have started out with daring to be different. Growing up in these neighborhoods, for those that don't know what Title I schools are, they're basically schools with less funding in predominantly black neighborhoods, the harsh neighborhoods, Bed-Stuy, Newark, some harsh areas where kids. I've read essays where kids say, I love reading, but it's hard to concentrate on reading when I'm in my room reading and you hear gunshots, or I have had teenage girls read their essays and they talk about I got to walk 3 blocks out of the way because I know it's a block on my way home where guys stand on the corner and they might try to rape me. I didn't have to grow up with these problems. I grew up in Kelson, Alabama with the only issue I had was trying to have fun, trying to find something to do, just because it was nothing to do. That was my worst issue as a kid. Now I couldn't even imagine trying to get an education, trying to concentrate on math, science, whatever it may be, when you got to worry about these issues just around your neighborhood. So the biggest thing I tell these kids is just dare to be different. Don't be the guy that comes into class late. Don't be the guy that has to wear his pants sagging off his butt. Don't be the girl that thinks that the coolest thing about life is how many boyfriends I've had. Stuff like that. Because these kids don't have people that just talk to them about life. I
do want to ask one question for all you Giants fans out there.
Okay.
What is the plan for next year? What do you think? You have about 12 members from that original 2008 team?
Yeah,
and
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think? What are things looking like?
I think we can become a dynasty here if we do it the right way. But the thing I love about this team is you won't have any complacent guys. You won't have any guys saying, "Oh, I got my ring now. I can kind of chill." From all the conversations I've had, I just came from the facility doing a little rehab myself, and guys were just in there like, they're already talking about winning another ring. So
okay.
It's going to be interesting. I know our schedule comes out soon, and everyone talks about us having the hardest schedule in the league. But I always believed in the fact that to be the best, you got to beat the best. And we're going to have another opportunity that everybody's going to be gunning for us, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, words spoken from a true and literal champion, Justin Tuck of the New York Giants. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
I'm Lee Hawkins. We'll see you next time.